You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for Damsel. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Damsel is a 2024 fantasy adventure film directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo and written by Dan Mazzeo. A beautiful damsel agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to find that the royal family has recruited her for an ancient ritual. When she finds herself in a precarious situation, she must rely on her wits and her will to survive. The film stars Millie Bobby Brown, Ray Winstone, Nick Robinson, Shore Agdashlu, Brooke Carter, Angela Bassett, and Robin Wright. So I'm a big fantasy nerd when it comes to things dealing with dragons. Well, I am a Targaryen, baby. But even bad fantasy, I generally have a pretty good time with. So when I saw Damsel was being released straight to Netflix on my birthday, I was really excited to check it out and see this spin on the age-old fantasy tropes. Now, in saying all that, I actually was not privy to this entire cast list because this cast is stacked. So when I saw Angela Bassett's face pop up on my screen, oh, my own face lit up. So did Damsel satisfy my fantasy craving? Not quite. Pretty much across the board, Damsel was meh. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, my biggest positive is actually Millie Bobby Brown in our leading role. I thought she was really good in this film. She covers all the bases she needs to cover, from the dutiful daughter to the more badass girl, and all of the steps in between those moments. Her kind of getting her footing, trying to just live and survive. She kills it. I thought she did a great job in this leading role, and honestly, I would like to see her in more action-oriented roles like this. The rest of our cast is also fun, though most of them don't have very much screen time. Honestly, the number 2 MVP of the film is Shore Agdashlu, who gives a really strong performance. I won't go much further into it from there, but I really enjoyed what she brought to the film. Other than that, the actors do what they can with the very limited screen time and presence they're given. Angela Bassett is always a delight. Just wish she had a little bit more. Of the names we all recognize with smaller roles, I think Robin Wright is the one who really swings for the fences and gives us a little something extra. I also thought the creature design for a specific creature that shows up in this film is fantastic. It looks really good, and I like the overall design just generally. And it's a fun kind of survival story that takes a couple of twists and turns throughout that are intriguing because they do really kind of subvert the fantasy tropes that we're used to in this type of film. Even beyond just it's a woman doing all of these things, the tropes themselves get subverted by the end of it. And I'd say I mostly liked the way we took those. And it's under 2 hours long. We don't spend a bunch of time doing a ton of lore building, which is probably a detriment overall because the world doesn't feel all that lived in or deep. But it also just kind of leaves this as an easy breezy streaming film. And in a lot of ways, I feel like that kind of meets the purpose as it was in. And in many ways, I feel like that's kind of meeting the purposes it was intended for. So then what doesn't work so well when it comes to Damsel? Well, I just touched on it in the last positive. It's not very deep across the board. Yeah, it kind of subverts expectations, it subverts some tropes here, but that's it. That's kind of the depth of it all. Even our lead character, she's not all that deep as a character. We don't really find out what drives her. We don't even get the Disney princess type of archetype here where they clearly have a goal, they have something in mind, they don't want to just marry characters like Belle or Jasmine. She kind of has that defiance at the beginning of this, but we don't develop her character. We don't really know what she wants. She wants to travel? And that's literally the length of her character development. Everybody else gets no development at all. So there's that. Everybody is very surface level. The script, by and large, is very surface level. We don't take time to build out this world, make it feel lived in, give us any type of meaningful lore. And it's not just the script that's shallow, the production design is also, unfortunately, very shallow. As we're walking through this palace, whew, you definitely felt like you were on a set. It did not feel like an actual place. I feel like if I touched a brick any which way, the whole castle would come tumbling down. When it comes to fantasy, you want to have good production design and world building and costumes. And then we have the costumes, which were very unflattering. Nick Robinson is a very attractive man. I think he's very good looking, but they give him this hair that's not all that flattering, and then this outfit that he's in almost the whole time we see him that is really hideous and did him absolutely no favors. I don't know why they put him in that outfit. Everybody's outfits actually kind of fit them weird. The fabrics looked kind of awkwardly stiff and didn't mold properly, didn't drape properly. So when you're watching fantasy, you want great, deep, awesome world building, you want amazing production design, and you want awesome costuming. And unfortunately, this film really kind of missed the mark on all three of those things. And then the rest of the CGI, the look of it all, it's all actually quite drab. The entire film looks pretty drab by and large. I think they used up all of their budget on that CGI character I spoke of earlier, because the rest of it, it wanes from looking okay to not very good. So overall, I was a little bit underwhelmed with Damsel. It's fine as a turn your brain off, play it in the background kind of movie. I don't think you'll be mad that you watched it. It's not offensively bad in any kind of way, which is a good direction for Netflix to go in, let's be honest. But also, it just doesn't stand up as a solid fantasy movie. It doesn't hit the beats you want in a good fantasy story and a nice fantasy production. And while you're rooting for the main character, it's more just because you like her spunk, basically. And you know she's been wronged, and that's as deep as it goes. Watch the film if you have a couple hours to pass time. So turn Damsel on if you want to pass a couple of hours. It's perfectly fine for that. However, it's far too shallow across the board to recommend that you rush over to your Netflix account and hit play once it debuts. So that was my review for Damsel. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Damsel? Let me know all of your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.